Welcome into the early line on a Wednesday morning, a hump day, right here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri. You know, we got you for 2 hours here. A lot of fun. Best bets, which went 2-0 last night on a sweep. Looking to do it again on a Wednesday. So many things went down last night. How about the Philadelphia Phillies? New managers, does it change things up? I think it worked out well last night. The Philadelphia 76ers on the road against the Celtics. Whoa, upset victory. Hockey in overtime, which saw the Boston Bruins climb closer to the Buffalo Sabres, and so many other hot topics across the board, which includes NCAA expansion and more. Joe Ranieri, we got the people ready. We're focused.
2-0 sweep, Donnie. A lot of fun there. A lot of teams staving off elimination here, making all of a sudden these first-round matchups in the NBA and the NHL very interesting moving forward.
Get you there halfway through the work week, heading towards the weekend. Big doings going on, but it's time to fill up your cup of coffee. Extra caffeination, baby, because you need it. Joe, what's that topic?
Well, Donnie, today let's talk about Adam Silver and the circus he's currently running in the NBA league office, because while the rest of us are focused on the actual playoffs, it appears the suits in New York have decided to drop their brand new anti-tanking reform on us. How fun is that? They're calling it the 3-2-1 lottery proposal. And let me just say this, Donnie. If Adam Silver's goal was to create a system so incredibly convoluted that you actually need an Ivy League law degree just to figure out who gets a ping pong ball, well, mission accomplished here. Because the real kicker, in their desperate attempt to scramble to stop teams from losing on purpose, they actually just created a system that incentivizes, wait for it, more losing. And maybe the funniest part of it all is the fact that the owners and Adam Silver instituted these draconian salary cap rules a few years ago that completely destroyed a franchise's ability to rebuild through trades or free agency. They forced general managers into a corner where their only path to survive was to build through the draft. And now they are punishing them for doing exactly that. This new 3-2-1 system expands the lottery from 14 to 16 teams. Now, how on earth does the league office not realize that flattening the odds and adding more teams simply increases the pool of franchises actively trying to lose? I have no idea. We literally just watched this happen when they tweaked the top of the lottery odds a few years ago. But it gets worse, because let's look at the absolute absurdity of the play-in tournament under these new rules. Because if you're sitting in that 7-8 matchup, the loser of that game now gets a lottery ball. What is the incentive to actually win the first game? A sharp front office is going to tell their coach, yeah, we don't want to win this game. We want to go ahead and tank that 7-8 game, drop into the lower bracket, win the final game to make the playoffs, and oh yeah, pocket a free lottery ticket along the way. It is a complete joke. They've opened more loopholes than they've closed. And do not even get me started on the new rule stating a team cannot win 3 consecutive top 5 picks. Oh, you mean the San Antonio Spurs, the way they literally just built their entire new operation doing exactly this with Victor Wembanyama and the pieces around him? But now that, as San Antonio said, apparently Adam Silver is just slamming the door shut so no other struggling franchise can rebuild the exact same way. The bad teams are now mathematically locked into staying bad forever because, well, their ping pong balls can drop all the way down to 12th. While playoff teams could theoretically end up with a top 3 pick via trades. Adam Silver created this salary cap mess, lost complete control of the narrative, and his grand solution is to pour gasoline all over the fire. Well, Donnie, if you like car crashes, pull up a chair, because the NBA is about to become a 30-car pileup. And to tell you the truth, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's a great topic, and it hits hard because when you're looking at the NBA, it's such a simple fix, and every year they make it harder and harder. I always joke about the NBA Cup midseason. It could be a decent tournament. I think it's terrible at this point, but when you have to get the calculator out to understand who's playing that night, where they're playing, how many more games are left in the Cup, and also the tiebreakers, it's like, what are we actually doing at this point? It's so simple. You miss the playoffs, you get a lottery ball. Hey, look at that. No more tanking at this point, because whether, Joe, you're the worst team in the league or the the 14th team in the league, you have the same results. You're always going to put your best foot forward, and teams are going to tank just to get in there, of course. And as Joe points out, making the playoffs and still getting a lottery pick and doing it, sabotaging the process in the meantime, it's ridiculous the way it works out. Just keep it simple, NBA, but for some reason, they can't. And to Joe's point here, in the NHL, if you want a really good hockey player, there are salary cap restraints, but there's no ceiling to how much you can pay a player. So let's just say Connor McDavid comes up as a free agent. Oh, max contract means he can only get $80 million. Well, if Edmonton can offer him or places that you want to go, it's like, yeah, he's going to go there. Flip it over to the NBA. Hey, look, max contracts here, which means the Lakers can offer the same amount as Milwaukee. Where's that player going to go? To LA. But you know, if you take the max contracts away, just use the salary cap and go, hold on now. I could pay LeBron James $75 million a year. The Lakers can only pay him $35 under their cap restraints. He's going to go take more money in that city. But the way the NBA is structured is everybody has the same money and the same max deal. So now you're asking players, where do they want to go? Portland or South Beach, same price here? They're going to South Beach every single time. Wake up, NBA. Great topic, Joe, to start off our Wednesday as we go along. Let's get to the early lineup here. More hot topics across the sports landscape. Rob Thompson in Philadelphia. His time was done. Wasn't his fault. You heard the players say that, and most talk radio said it as well. But something had to change. You weren't getting rid of Kyle Schwarber and also Bryce Harper. The manager went. They picked up a victory. Don Mattingly now as the head in Philadelphia.
Yeah, listen, perfect guy, right spot, right time, Donnie. It's unfortunate that it happened to Rob Thompson that way, but a 9-19 start will do that. And now here go the Phillies. Heck of a game last night and a shutout win on top of that. Impressive.
Everything. I mean, Alec Bohm was getting base hits here. It was crazy the way you watch it play out. How about Terry Rozier? More charges brought against him by the feds here. Not looking good. Better get that plea deal ready.
Yeah, well, especially since a few other guys involved here with Terry Rozier have already pled guilty and cut deals. Yeah, you knew that was happening there, but good luck, Terry. Let's see. All that money you made might very well be going to attorneys sometime soon.
Two new teams ready to tank in the NBA, Seattle and Las Vegas, each seeking $10 billion per franchise just to get in the door, Joe.
Yeah, but who are we kidding, Donnie? They'll change the rules once again to give these teams an opportunity, to build through the draft like they're unfortunately not allowing some other teams to do right now.
Oh, Joe, we got a fight coming in Pittsburgh here. How about this? The UFA tender, which is the unrestricted free agent temper there. Here's what's going to happen in Pittsburgh. One team is unhappy. That's the side for Aaron Rodgers. One team is unhappy. That's the side of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we got a showdown. Let's go.
But again, what choice does Aaron Rodgers leave them? I mean, that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're using a rule that has not been used, and I can't remember how long here in the NFL. But what else are they supposed to do? You won't give them an answer. You're leaving them hanging. It is what it is. I mean, this is all created because of Aaron Rodgers.
It is, exactly. San Antonio Spurs, how about this? First playoff victory, series victory since 2017. And away they go with Wemby and the boys.
Yeah, a lot of top 3 draft picks on that team there, Donnie. A lot of top 3 draft picks.
By the way, Adam Silver does say teams should hate to lose. Well, if you incentivize losing and the only way to get better is to lose, teams are going to keep losing and the NBA season is way too long. All right, Adam, we hear you.
Yeah, no, great stuff. Pour gasoline on that fire, Adam. That's what I'm talking about, my man. Unreal.
By the way, is Adam Silver also running Live Golf? Because apparently they're ready to shut down because their product can't even function throughout the...
Yeah. I'm fairly certain that, yes, they ended up canceling a tournament here on the Live Tour, which I think is absolutely hilarious. The end is near, but we're not. We're just getting started. More early line next here on the grid.
Spread lines for your Wednesday viewing approval tonight. We got you covered. Big doings going down. Fun stuff as we watched last night. We're going to start today, Joe, in the association. The NBA, 3 games tonight. 7 o'clock, fantastic. 7:30, even better. 10 o'clock, ridiculous. But let's get to the first game here, Joe. The Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons. The Magic are on the road, and now it appears that they can close out the Pistons. They've been much better than the Pistons over the series. But, Joe, if we look at the line, minus 9.5, up to 10.5 at some outlets as a favorite for the Detroit Pistons. Total in this game, low, of course, to 11.5. It's closeout time for the Magic, or do the Pistons rise up at home and say, nope, we're sending this bad boy back to Disney, Joe? What's the spread line for the Magic and the Pistons?
Listen, it's very hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that the Magic are going to lose Game 5 by double digits against this offense of the Pistons. It's quite obvious, Donnie, that Orlando defensively is set up and it's just a terrible matchup for the Pistons, who have no real three-point shooter, and outside of Cade Cunningham can't generate any offense. They're being out-rebounded. They're being pushed around. This is a problem. Now, Franz Wagner is injured here. He did hurt his calf towards the end of Game 4. He hasn't been ruled out yet, but you watch that status, because he's obviously a big part of what the Magic do. I say to heck with the side, Donnie. This is a first one to 100 wins, 105 at that. There is no way I'm looking at overs in this series, given what we've seen offensively from these two teams.
Pistons are really bad right now in the series. They're down 3-1. They're getting hammered on a night-to-night basis. They're favored by 9.5, and only about 20% of the public betting those Detroit Pistons, Joe. This might appear in about an hour and a half here when we get the bye. Let's keep it moving, people. Toronto, Cleveland, 2-2 series. Back to Cleveland they go. This line opened up at 9.5, Joe. It's backtracked a little bit. You see the graphic? Minus 8.5 now is a favorite towards the Cleveland Cavaliers, the home team tonight, in a total of 215.5. Who gets that big Game 5 tonight, Joe? Give us a spread line here.
I mean, what in the world? Watching Game 4, Donnie, might have set basketball back 100 years with how terrible. I've seen more air balls in one NBA game, in a playoff NBA game, nonetheless, that it was gross. It was gross on so many levels, what we just watched. But give the Raptors defense credit. They have certainly not allowed James Harden or Mitchell, or anybody else for that matter, to have their way. So now it's 2-2. Series doesn't start until somebody wins a game on the road, right? I anticipate the Cavs will probably make it look rather easily, only then to look gross in Toronto in Game 6 and have a Game 7, Donnie. And that's the way I'm going to play this, because at this point, I don't trust either offense to score enough to get us anywhere close to either a cover or an over here.
Let's get over to the Houston Rockets taking on the Los Angeles Lakers as we go back to L.A. The L.A. Lakers looking to close out the Houston Rockets. Kevin Durant not expected to play once again tonight, but Austin Reeves for the Lakers, Joe. Game time decision expected to play here. We take a look at these lines opening up around that 2.5 frame. Now we're seeing the graphic at minus 4.5 as a favorite towards the Lakers at home. Lowest total on the board tonight, 208.5. Rockets, Lakers, Joe. What's the spread line out west?
Well, good news, right? Reeves is, if he does go, the question is, how healthy is he going to be? We already know he wasn't a very good defender to begin with, so the offense of the Lakers likely to get better. The defense likely to get worse here, Donnie. You mentioned it. No Durant here, but we just saw this Houston offense finally be able to put it together here for a little bit. And, listen, you're going to have to score, and the Lakers are going to have to score more than 100 points. And if they do, I think this thing goes flying over the total here. I think Reeves is a difference maker offensively, but at the same time, I think they're going to give up more points in this one to Houston as well. So I like the over in this spot.
Flip it over to Major League Baseball, and how about this? The Marlins and the Dodgers set to go today at 3:10 Eastern. It is a West Coast game, so out there at 12:10. It's going to be Alcantara versus Glasnow, another heavy favorite for the Dodgers at minus 225. Total, Joe, listed at 8.5. Yesterday, Jansen Junk, 6 innings pitched, no earned runs, knocked off the Dodgers 2-1 with Ohtani on the mound. Now we got the rubber match today out in LA. What's the spread line we can look forward to today?
Well, pitching matchup is what this game is all about,
Yeah.
Donnie, but you just mentioned it there. That is why you don't lay $3 in Major League Baseball games, because the market may price it like there's no reason for the other team to show up. But guess what happened last night with Ohtani on the mound of all things there? Yeah, that's a problem here. Listen, I think the Dodgers, this is going to be another close game, I think, especially with Alcantara looking to bounce back. Last outing wasn't great. Glasnow has been good. Still some command issues here. But either way, I am not laying 225, 230 with the Dodgers. I might be inclined to take that run and a half here with the Marlins tonight.
Yeah, crazy things can happen there. A little afternoon baseball, get out of town type of day here. Let's flip it over to the NHL tonight, Joe. We got a triple header, 7 o'clock, 7:30, and 10 o'clock. Montreal and Tampa Bay game number 1. But the focus, the Pittsburgh Penguins, 2 straight victories to force a game 6 tonight in Philadelphia. Now, the Flyers are the favorite here, opened up around a -125 price. Most outlets have them between -122 to -120, depending where you're shopping at. And the total listed at 5.5. You don't want this thing to go 7. All the pressure on Philadelphia, but they are home tonight. The younger legs, can they carry through, Joe? What are we looking at tonight between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia on the ice as a spread line?
Well, let me ask you this, Donnie, because I've talked to a lot of folks over the last 24 hours, and they all say the same thing. Your Flyers are in trouble.
No, they ain't.
So,
They ain't saying that.
I'm just saying, a lot of people believe the Flicks, where you just mentioned, Donnie, all the pressure's on one side. It ain't on Pittsburgh's side. We'll see if it matters here. Will there be a game 7? Part of me hopes there is, Donnie. Sorry, but part of me hopes there is.
There you go. Flyers take the ice. Now, look, the Flyers had to watch last night. Stave off elimination. The Philadelphia 76ers were on a high. The Phillies got a victory. Now it's up to the Philadelphia Flyers. And by the way, talking about those Phillies, let's get back to that news next, right after this short break. People. Oh, we heard yesterday. We were waiting here in Philadelphia for what? Well, maybe a Phillies victory, absolutely, but something had to change. On an off day, a lot of collaboration between the heads, ownership groups, front office, and also the team itself, which led us to Rob Thompson being fired as the Philadelphia Phillies manager. Something had to give. A team with that high of a payroll, struggling that much, Joe. You can't get rid of Bryce Harper. You can't get rid of Kyle Schwarber. You do get rid of the manager. Now, we're going to get into some components here in just a few moments, but let's hear from Dave Dombrowski right now on that managerial move.
Well, this isn't a blame game. I don't. That's not that. We collectively are not doing well. This is a whole group. I don't think we're playing very well from an offensive, defensive, pitching performance. I don't think we're playing up to our capabilities. Squad together just has not done very well. You can blame whomever you choose to do, but for us, we don't really do that. Rob, it's like the rest of us, and you bear responsibility. So I talk to him every single day, but just the way things were going are not going well enough. I don't think we're playing up to our capabilities. I think we're a much better club than we played. And so you make some decisions.
It was the right move, Joe. Something had to be done. That start to the season, unacceptable here with a team that's looking to make a World Series run, now already having their playoff season in peril at this point. They make the move to fire Rob Thompson here. Don Mattingly now in as the manager.
Yeah, what would have been something too if they ended up getting Cora as the new manager. That would have been actually pretty funny. But yeah, listen, Mattingly been here, done this. A team filled with veterans. This is the perfect guy at the perfect time here to hopefully light a fire under the Phillies, who looked finally like the Phillies last night. Luzardo, who was in Miami, don't forget when Mattingly was there, that might be the best he's looked in a very long time last night. So hopefully these are, it's a sign of better days ahead here for the Phillies and this group.
Probably made that decision, Joe, on Monday, so you're going to reach out to other managers. Don Mattingly was brought in there for a good reason here. You get that veteran guy in there, and also, if something did go wrong, he would be the next guy in line. Now, also, Don Mattingly in a couple of interviews goes, you know what? I really can't envision myself managing, as we go forward. I like the spot I'm in. Well, what was he supposed to say when he came to the Phillies? Yeah, can't wait to be a manager here, and maybe Rob Thompson gets fired. He has his chance now, but they did reach out, the Philadelphia Phillies, to Alex Cora to gauge his interest on coming over to Philadelphia. And I'll say this, if you are Alex Cora, you just got fired and probably didn't expect to do so. You got a monster contract that's a guaranteed payout at this point. The one thing I don't believe is, well, I want to sit this out because I want to spend time with my family in Puerto Rico. That's nonsense. After a weekend in Puerto Rico, he's going to be chomping at the bit to get back. But this guy is going to get his pick of jobs if you just sit out this season, do the publicity tour here, and you'll be able to land. Because if the Philadelphia Phillies situation isn't great with Mattingly, he's not going to be the full-time manager after 2026, and that job will open up. If you said, okay, Corey, you just got fired from Boston, go over to the Phillies, and it doesn't work, it's like, you know what? Let me pick my situation. I understand exactly what Alex Cora is doing, Joe.
Yeah. And we should also mention, Donnie, that this is kind of a first because I don't ever remember this. But Don Mattingly, now the manager of the Phillies, becomes the first father-son GM manager in baseball history. Don Mattingly's kid, Preston, is the GM under Dombrowski for the Phillies. So go figure, Donnie. A couple of degrees of separation there as Mattingly is now working for his son in the front office of the Phillies. Crazy.
I wonder how that goes. Like, hey, Pop, going to meet you for breakfast at this point. It's like, you know what, Dad? I brought you here. I got to let you go. It's just not working out. And good luck on the unemployment line. Catch you at brunch next Sunday to see what happens. It is an interesting dynamic the way that worked out. I don't think the Phillies envisioned it this way because if the season was going well, sure, it's going to be Rob Thompson. And he's done a pretty good job with the Phillies. But in Major League Baseball, just like every other sport, Joe, in management or being a head coach, you are hired to eventually be fired. No hard feelings. It's just the business and the way it goes here. Let's talk a little Mets action here. Kodai Senga. The heck is wrong with this guy? Is this one of those get yourself on the 15-day IL because you're so bad? Or is it really a lumbar spine inflammation that you can always just throw down?
Yeah, it could very well be that because he does have a history of, issues staying somewhat healthy here. So hopefully, though, the Mets seem to have figured some things out, and hopefully he'll be able to get back into that rotation because they've dug themselves quite a hole here, them and the Phillies.
Hey, Juan Soto, my calf not feeling too good. Let me take a couple games off, maybe a week or two here. Oh, no, my forearm tightness now. A good thing he isn't a pitcher at this point. Still going to bat, but hopefully returning back into the field over the next few days. What's up with Soto, man? It's breaking down over here, Joe.
Kind of crazy here. But he did have a home run last night, so that was impressive.
Home run. Hey, Mets won again. What is it, Phillies and the Mets are winning at this point? We'll be right back after the break. You know we love ourselves some hot topics here, and every once in a while we get those bonus topics that seemingly come out of nowhere and things get agreed to upon. Who asked for this? Nobody. But we always like to cry and spill milk here over some things that you probably shouldn't be crying about. On 3 yesterday with a tweet. New. The NCAA has begun the final steps to expand the men's and the women's NCAA basketball tournaments to 76 teams per ESPN. Joe, I'm going to let you go first because I know where you're going. I do.
No, you already know my feelings on this. I mean, it's absolutely all it is a money grab, man. And all it is to get a bunch of 500 or sub 500 SEC and Big Ten teams into an opportunity in the play-in so they can have more ridiculousness and never a chance of any of those teams. This isn't going to help the mid-majors. Do not kid yourself into thinking that, well, the little guy deserves a jet. No, this isn't about the Daytons of the world. No. This is all, or the Elons of the world. This is all about getting the 500 teams in the old misses of the world and those types of teams that probably don't have a chance because they're in such a ridiculous, overhyped, and oversaturated conference now with these mega conferences. It's a money grab. It's not, the basketball's not going to be any better. We're not giving anybody else a chance to win it. They're never winning a national championship. It's just all about the money, Donnie, which is a waste of time.
By the way, if we go in the timeline, Joe, we just probably have these same conversations. In 1939, the first tournament there was 8 teams, okay? Then we went to 1951 and expanded to 16 teams. There's probably a guy getting the paper in French Lick, Indiana, goes, they're ruining the sport. I'll never watch it with 16 teams. We watched. Then in 1975, maybe the hippies go, oh no, it's moving to 32 teams. Ruining my buzz, man. I'm never going to watch this tournament again. UCLA wins every year anyway. Then in 1985, they went to 64 teams. I'm pretty sure the Reagan era was like, this is ridiculous. We are never going to come back from this. 64 teams. How can we actually do this? Tournament survived. And then we go to 2001, 65 teams, 2011, 68 teams. I'll never watch this tournament again. Now we go to 76 teams, Joe, and everybody's saying the same thing. You know what? You're going to watch it. You're going to bet it, Joe, and you're going to love it out there.
Yeah, but Donnie, the problem with that argument is in 1930 and 1950, you didn't have 364 Division I men's basketball teams that could qualify for a tournament. That was not it. You had the same 8 teams, namely UCLA, that was going to run the table and win it every year, or Kentucky, and that was it. Now, all of a sudden, you got 364 bad basketball teams, by the way, really bad basketball teams, all fighting for a shot at a few more spots so they can get annihilated once again on national television. Tell me it's about the basketballs, not about the money.
Look, Rutgers is going to get into the tournament eventually, Joe. We ain't stopping here at 76 either. Next year, you'll be yelling at me when 82 teams are in. Then we'll go to 88 teams. And then somebody's going to soon be like, everybody should have an opportunity to make it into the NCAA tournament. Like, you know what? Everybody's in it. Let's get this season underway. Just the way it is, Joe. But the one thing you don't want to have is say, you know what? You get a knock on your door, Joe. That's the Fed saying, you know what? We got 3 to 4 years on you. You better come talk to us and come with some answers. That's exactly what's going on. Former NBA player and coach Damon Jones pleaded guilty Tuesday to charges he tipped off sports bettors about an injured LeBron James and used his own celebrity to lure high rollers to rigged poker games. He's talking, Joe, which means he's going to implicate others as well.
Well, he's always been talking here, which is why they have exactly what they have on everybody else. So, yeah, no, this is not a shock, which is why it is also no shock that Rozier now has charges being added and not subtracted here. So, yeah, everyone involved here, they're all going to start pointing a finger at one another, and that's exactly what the Feds want, and it's going according to plan, Donnie. That's exactly what's happening.
There's nothing worse than, again, I've never been in this spot where I guess the Feds come in, they get you in that one room, they're like, here's this big pamphlet right here that we just got from Damon Jones. I'm going to let you tell it from your side here to see what's what. Who knows if they have anything in that book, but most people at that point, you know what? You got me. Limit my sentence. What do you need to know? And we're going to find out more as this trial moves along, or maybe the trial of the other people, because Damon Jones already wrote the playbook here. Yahoo Sports, the Indiana Fever, they've exercised Caitlin Clark's 4th-year option, Joe, which makes her officially under contract through 2027. Caitlin Clark never thought she was going to leave the Fever. Re-up there and extended, Joe.
Yeah, and she's still going to make more money in endorsements than anything they're ever going to pay her. So, yeah, I mean, she will be there quite a long time. Now, whether or not they win anything is a different story. But, yes, you will be buying season tickets to go see Caitlin Clark. That's for sure.
Let's go back to the association, Joe, get the people an update on the playoff bracket. Yes, the Spurs finally advanced, first time since 2017. Winners of a playoff round. The Knicks take a commanding 3-2 series lead over the Atlanta Hawks, and those Philadelphia 76ers went on the road, Joe, and took down the Boston Celtics. Embiid, looking like MVP Embiid, with a monster fourth quarter of defense by the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, in Boston, very impressive. Heading back to Philly, it's the first time that we've seen it. Kind of felt like turning the clock back with Embiid yesterday. Don't forget, 19 days ago, he was having an appendectomy, and now all of a sudden he's out there and dragging the Sixers into another game with the Celtics here. Impressive stuff, but we mentioned it yesterday, Donnie. History tells us, you know what happens when Boston plays their food, what happens the next game. Yeah, this could be interesting.
Yeah, and by the way, who would have told me before the series? Like, hey, by the way, the Sixers would already have 2 road wins in Boston. I said, you know what? They probably won the series. still not looking good for them, but a chance at home to get to a game number 7 here. By the way, big game in the Garden last night. Brunson was fantastic. Let's get some post-game clips here.
To go from the 2 one-point losses to these 2 pretty decisive victories, just what does it tell you about your team's response to adversity?
They're resilient, and we talked about it throughout the course of the year. You got to go through some adversity throughout the course of the year to see what you're made of as a group, see how you're going to respond, and you just got to keep fighting. And our guys have been through a lot so far this year, and they continue to go through it, but they've been through it as a group, and there's nothing that will deter the group. They're a veteran group that knows what they want and how to go get it, no matter what's in front of them.
Well, they did what they were supposed to do, protecting home court, and we were never, their defense never really let us establish, consistently how we need to play to beat them. And we have to be more committed to it's really like imposing your will.
Quinn Snyder looked like he's going through it a little bit right there. It is what it is in the NBA, high-pressure playoff scenarios. But the one thing that you do like, Joe, is you want to have your best players available here. Well, Minnesota, Anthony Edwards down a minimum, Joe, of 2 weeks. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, it was not good at all. I mean, listen, if they can get past Denver, which is unlikely, but if they can, I mean, they do have a 3-game-to-2 edge here heading back home. If they can somehow watch Denver shoot themselves in the foot, he could very well be back for the next round, Donnie. So that's good news for Minnesota. The problem is, can you weather this storm? It's going to be an uphill battle.
It is uphill battle, maybe even tonight, Joe, for Orlando Magic forward Franz Wagner here has been diagnosed with a right calf strain, and his availability for game number 5 against the Pistons is uncertain and will depend on treatment tonight. Dr. Donnie says, Joe, he's out tonight. What do you say?
Yeah, it didn't look good. I'll tell you that when it happened. Didn't look good.
I'll tell you what does look good. Cam Stewart joining us next from the show. Let's get that Buffalo update and golf, and more golf. Thanks. We got a log jam up top, Joe, which basically means these are the teams we expect to make the college football playoff.
If I like, let's say, Ohio State to run it back, well, then I already know what, not only am I betting them for a flyer, I'm also betting the conference to win the championship also. So there's a lot of way to correlate these future bets in college.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Manager, hitting coach, bench coach, assistant hitting coach, third base coach, hitting strategy, and game planner here. It's almost like a line change in hockey, Craig.
Some of these questions that have to be asked, Donnie, would be, what did you think a month ago, Donnie, right? Like right before the season started, did you think that these coaches were the answer to your season? Because if not, why did you wait all off season to make a change like that?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The promising thing for Oklahoma is you've got this legislature that seems to be fairly behind sports betting and legalizing it for the tribes. Stitt is term limited out this year, so you will have a new governor in Oklahoma next year. So this will be a state to watch because there are a lot of tribes in Oklahoma saying, we want this. FanDuel came out as this was coming and said, we want the chance to partner with at least one of the tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I thought the Jets would have pulled the Ty Simpson move. I was desperately worried that was what they were going to do. But instead, they ended up getting it right with Bailey. And so did, by the way, the prediction markets, because we saw all that money come in for Bailey. It's kind of funny because all it is, and then you forget, who did Arizona go with? I mean, Arizona went with a running back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's get after it on a Wednesday. It's a hump day. What better way to push your week forward? Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri, welcoming Cam Stewart. And we'll call Cam Stewart today the Blue Monster. He's ready to go today, Cam. How we feeling, brother?
Usually my face, I'm the red monster, but thank you, Donnie. Always a pleasure on a Wednesday morning. And slick Joe Ranieri. Joe always looks good. He looks like the guy, I want to go fishing with all the time. He got big marlins on the back of Ranieri's boat. But guys, yes, what can we say? We got the Cadillac Championship. We got playoff hockey, basketball, the works. And we got the Derby this weekend, too. I love me some ponies, but yes, I don't know where to start, Donnie. Spin the magic wheel. Wherever it lands, I'm cool with.
Let's go down the Ranieri territory today. Let's head to Miami and take a look there at Trump National. That is the Blue Monster in Miami. And I love this, too, because you talk about these signature fields. Everybody is back in play, Cam. Love to see it. Scotty Scheffler, once again, a monster favorite as we look forward to this here. Give us an update on what we're looking forward to, Cam, in the Cadillac Championship this week.
Doral, it is a beast. Let's call it this way. You know what I mean? We're talking almost 8,000 yards. So what are we going to do? We have to take guys that obviously are pretty big off the tee. And I'll tell you, Scheffler, he's knocking on the door, and the books aren't stupid. These guys, they do it for a living. He's 3-1. It's horrible odds. But I got to be honest with you, Scheffler, I like him a lot this week. But how do we attack him? You can attack him from two ways, guys. If you want to take Scotty Scheffler, maybe take a flyer at 10-1. I saw an 11 on first round leader, or you can hope that which he's been doing all year, come out of the gate a little bit of slow and maybe get him at like a 5 or a 6 if that's the way you want to play him. But guys, I'm going with big hitting Chris Gotterup, Pride of New Jersey, by way of Rutgers and Oklahoma at 25-1. Hideki Matsuyama to me checks all the boxes. Hideki, keep it in the fairway. We know you can hit it long and hit a couple putts and you'll be there at 35. And it's weird, as Justin Rose gets older, it's not like he's getting any shorter off the tee. Let's remember, guys, he's in contention at the Masters. He's just playing great golf right now. So at 40-1, those are my outrights. I really worry. I also took Donnie and Joe. I took Scheffler at top 5 -135. I know we're laying a little bit of juice, but I know he's going to be there this week. This course is so long. It's up to him. Even when he's back, that's the time to bet him. But if he comes out of the gate hot, these guys could be in trouble. Kind of like Matt Fitzpatrick the last 2 weeks, guys. And thank God, if Matt Fitzpatrick was in this field, we could have a great tournament. I was hoping he'd play another week, but he needs a break after just crushing it with himself and his brother the last couple weeks.
Cam, it's hard to believe it's been a decade since they've played at Doral in the Blue. Most of these guys that are playing this don't even remember when it was an actual tournament. Guys like Justin Rose will actually have experience. And it is it's almost 7,800 yards. Yeah. It's flat, but my goodness, it's not an easy course. You got to think maybe some of the old timers got a little bit of an edge here coming back to this course.
Great call, Joe, and that's what you see on my leaderboard. Other than Gotterup, who hits it big and has adapted to big, long courses and has a total game, I'm looking at guys like Hideki Matsuyama. Like, that's what I'm thinking. And you said it, Justin Rose. Justin Rose is contending in every damn tournament. I don't care how long it is. I don't care how short it is. Yep. He's a guy that knows every trick in the book. What do you have to be here? Joe mentioned it. It is long. It is mean. But also, if you spray it, you're going to get behind some trees, and that could be an issue. Other than that, if you're hitting it long and straight, you have a chance on this course. That's advantage big ball hitters. That's why I got veterans in the list. I got Hideki Matsuyama, who I think is a great fit for this golf course, and Justin Rose, who's just basically getting better as he's getting older. But guys, be very careful. Units, spread them around. Scotty Scheffler, he's got smoke coming out his ears. He's going to win one of these weeks, and it probably is going to be this week, but I'm going to look for other ways to attack him and other guys in this tournament.
Should be a great week here in golf, and also it's been a fantastic week and also a fantastic round number 1 in the NHL playoffs. 3 more games on the docket tonight. It's been a lot of fun. Now, Cam, we're taking a look at those Buffalo Sabres. The crowds have been impressive here. The Bruins showing a lot of might, forcing this series an extra game longer. Do we think we're getting a game number 7, or what did you see last night from the Bruins and Sabres that allows you to propel forward?
I was telling Mr. New York, Tommy, who is a Sabres fan and really a Rochester Americans fan, Boston, without Jeremy Swayman, would have been swept in this series. If not for a crazy goal by Morgan Geekie from center ice that bounces a weird way, which actually got Luukkonen out of the net and Lyon into the net for the Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres are faster. They're better. Lyon's been good, but you know what? It's just one of those situations where Buffalo, you guys got to score some greasy goals. This is the playoffs. We talk about it. There've been madness. Goals from behind the net. Goals like just flick the puck up in the air from center. Anything happen. If Swayman sees it, you know, he's going to save it. So I'm going to tell you, guys, I've already loaded up. I love the Buffalo Sabres on the road without the pressure in their building to go in there and punch Boston in the face and end this series in 6. They've been the better team. They've been the much better team, in my opinion, if not for Swayman. If Swayman doesn't stand on his head, they're done. But, Donnie, I got a message for you. Watch out, pal. We talked about it with Big Dan Cilio on Sunday. I said if the Penguins get 2, this thing might go to 7. They need to put their foot on their throat. And Donnie's Flyers, they've been lingering. Dan Vladar's been okay, guys, but I'll tell you something. This Philadelphia Flyer team, they're going to be a little bit nervous. Pittsburgh's breathing right down their neck. That's a series that I think can go 7, Donnie. You better hope the Flyers find a way. They got to score some goals because, hey, Pittsburgh, you give them life. We know what happens in hockey. Watch out.
Yep.
And give us a couple of horses to look for at Churchill on Sunday, or Saturday, rather. What are we looking at?
Well, Joe, we hit it last year, but who cares about last year? But I do like ties, and I do like guys, you know what I mean, like certain connections. And this Alvarado-Mott connection is very, very important in big races. Sovereignty won last year. We're looking at Chief Wallaby. He's a 12. He's on my list for, I'm definitely going to put him in boxes, exotics, tries. But the horse I'm really looking at, Commandment. Luis Saez gets the trip. Brad Cox is a very, very solid trainer. And, Joe, we talked about this connection, too. Florida Derby winner, Kentucky Derby winner. Watch out for the 6 horse, Commandment. He looks very, very good. And if you're looking for another horse, guys, watch out for the 18, Further Ado, with Johnny Velasquez getting the trip. I think he's a very, very dangerous driver and dangerous horse. So this is what I got circled, guys, right now. 6, 12, 18. It makes mathematical sense. 12. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing everything in 6 today. That's what I'm doing, Donnie. I don't know but those are the 3 horses that I circled. I know the 1 Renegade is the favorite. You have to be scared of this horse, but that 1 spot can be very, very dangerous in the Derby with so many horses running in the field. You guys know horses can get boxed in. They can get behind. They can get very, very frustrated. You want a horse coming off the pace, and these 3 horses offer that. I'm really, really thinking the 12 might be a good pooch, but I'm looking at the 6 too. Commandment. That's my horse.
Covering it all. That's Cam Stewart here. The one thing I did want to get a take on was the CFL. What the heck is going on up north? We'll save that for another time. But thank you, Cam. We'll talk to you again.
Love you guys.
We got a log jam up top, Joe, which basically means these are the teams we expect to make the college football playoff.
If I like, let's say, Ohio State to run it back, well, then I already know what, not only am I betting them for a flyer, I'm also betting the conference to win the championship also. So there's a lot of way to correlate these future bets in college.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Manager, hitting coach, bench coach, assistant hitting coach, third base coach, hitting strategy, and game planner here. It's almost like a line change in hockey, Craig.
Some of these questions that have to be asked, Donnie, would be, what did you think a month ago, Donnie, right? Like right before the season started, did you think that these coaches were the answer to your season? Because if not, why did you wait all off season to make a change like that?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The promising thing for Oklahoma is you've got this legislature that seems to be fairly behind sports betting and legalizing it for the tribes. Stitt is term limited out this year, so you will have a new governor in Oklahoma next year. So this will be a state to watch because there are a lot of tribes in Oklahoma saying, we want this. FanDuel came out as this was coming and said, we want the chance to partner with at least one of the tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I thought the Jets would have pulled the Ty Simpson move. I was desperately worried that was what they were going to do. But instead, they ended up getting it right with Bailey. And so did, by the way, the prediction markets, because we saw all that money come in for Bailey. It's kind of funny because all it is, and then you forget, who did Arizona go with? I mean, Arizona went with a running back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Some NFL news and notes on the early line. Donnie right side and Joe Ranieri. Let's head down to Tennessee, Joe. Turnovers in football are never good. You know, it's sometimes even worse. Constant turnover in your front office here, whether that's the, football operations guy, the general manager, the head coach. Ever since Amy Adams Strunk has took over there as the de facto owner of the Titans from her father, this team is always embroiled in controversy. But maybe the big win is we got a new stadium. We're going to get a Super Bowl here. But it just seems like, Joe, that front office, if you're a coach there, you got to have your head on a swivel, and you're probably going to be out of a job sooner than later. And how about this? Titans president of football operations, Chad Brinker, announced he's not getting fired. He's just like, I'm out.
Yeah, and what does that tell you, Don? It tells you everything you need to know about the dysfunction and what's happening in that organization here. Nobody can seem to get on the same page. It all started, crazy enough, right, with the, nobody wanted to listen to Vrabel. Amy comes in, takes it over, and then it all starts falling downhill from there. It's unfortunate, but sometimes unless somebody that, I don't know, signs the checks, decides to move out of the way, I don't see it getting any better anytime soon.
No, and again, it's a unique partnership where it's like, hey, I took over from my dad, and we could win 0 games for the next 15 years, and my franchise goes from $1 billion to $8 billion worth, and it doesn't matter. So sometimes you're in there, let me just do my job, and sometimes owners just meddle, and you can't do your job here. Maybe that's a case of what's going on down there in Tennessee. How about this? The Ravens are now signing former Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia to a 3-year deal per source. Pavia was supposed to try out this weekend, but the Ravens signed him in advance. And before we go, oh, yeah, of course, it's going to make the team. When you get those rookie contracts, very, very minimal. A fraction of that is guaranteed, and you're going to have to earn your way onto that team, Joe.
Yeah, pretty much none of it, Donnie, I think, is basically where we're going with that one there. So, yeah, not but hey, listen, a guy was in the Heisman race, right? I mean, the guy was we were talking about him being one of the best players in college football year. He was going to get an opportunity, but the Ravens also signed, I believe, former UConn quarterback, right? Joe Fagano. I believe they just signed him as well. So the Ravens appear to be bringing in any and every quarterback that is still available to give them a shot here coming up.
I understand this, too. When you go to minicamp, Joe, you can't have your starting quarterback throwing all the passes. That's why you go with 4, 5, and 6 quarterbacks in these minicamps to take some of those reps away from the starting quarterback. And again, it's up to you to impress the coaches if you want to stick around. Here's some news. The Jets. Yeah, those Jets. Russell Wilson, free agent visit. Is he still playing? Does he want to play? Last time I remember Russell Wilson was Brian Dable's like, my rookie quarterback's got a concussion. Get him back out here. I can't watch Russell Wilson anymore.
I can. And the best part about this story, Donnie, is that apparently Geno Smith gave his blessing, which is hilarious when Geno was actually backing him up in Seattle. But yeah, they apparently had a conversation with Geno and said, would you mind? And he's like, no, I think this is great. Listen, bring in Russ. You got Geno. I don't want to win more than 3 games next year anyway. It's the only way we can guarantee we're ever going to get an actual franchise quarterback. So bring in Russ. I don't know, is Flacco available? Whoever you can get on that age scale, bring him in.
Josh Johnson.
It's going to be an absolute train wreck, and I am all for it.
Aaron Glenn out there. Lead us to victory here. Good luck with that. By the way, here's an interesting story, too. Free agent wide receiver Juwan Jennings is visiting tonight and Wednesday with the Minnesota Vikings. How's this on the free agent market? He's a quality wideout. Is he asking for $1 billion? Why is he still a free agent?
Yeah, very interesting as to why that is. And maybe, again, Donnie, maybe we're just all waiting to, a certain June 1st deadline to get there, and maybe they'll go. But I don't think he's going to be teamless, shall we say, by the time the summer rolls around and camps start showing up.
Remember this, Joe? We talked about it's like the Giants, like, we're not trading Kayvon Thibodeau. That's it. We're not doing it. And we always go like, it's because nobody's offering anything. We want a 2nd-round pick. Everybody's like, you get a 4th and like it if you want to move this guy. Oh, we're going to shut down the trade here. We love Kayvon Thibodeau in New York.
Yeah. Everybody's trade. Didn't we hear that, Donnie? Isn't everybody tradable? Everybody is tradable. And yes, the Giants have a ridiculous amount of riches on that defensive side line now, especially linebackers. So I would anticipate if somebody's willing to overpay, I would, no matter what the Giants say, Donnie, something tells me, yeah, they'll be moving on. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, they got a plethora of guys who can rush now. And, of course, other teams like, you just drafted another edge. I'm not giving you a second. You'll get a fourth and like it. Well, put us back to the Giants, at least for now. Hour number 2 underway next.
Yep.
We got a log jam up top, Joe, which basically means these are the teams we expect to make the college football playoff.
If I like, let's say, Ohio State to run it back, well, then I already know what, not only am I betting them for a flyer, I'm also betting the conference to win the championship also. So there's a lot of way to correlate these future bets in college.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Manager, hitting coach, bench coach, assistant hitting coach, third base coach, hitting strategy, and game planner here. It's almost like a line change in hockey, Craig.
Some of these questions that have to be asked, Donnie, would be, what did you think a month ago, Donnie, right? Like right before the season started, did you think that these coaches were the answer to your season? Because if not, why did you wait all off season to make a change like that?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The promising thing for Oklahoma is you've got this legislature that seems to be fairly behind sports betting and legalizing it for the tribes. Stitt is term limited out this year, so you will have a new governor in Oklahoma next year. So this will be a state to watch because there are a lot of tribes in Oklahoma saying, we want this. FanDuel came out as this was coming and said, we want the chance to partner with at least one of the tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I thought the Jets would have pulled the Ty Simpson move. I was desperately worried that was what they were going to do. But instead, they ended up getting it right with Bailey. And so did, by the way, the prediction markets, because we saw all that money come in for Bailey. It's kind of funny because all it is, and then you forget, who did Arizona go with? I mean, Arizona went with a running back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We made it to hour number 2, and you made it to Wednesday out here, halfway to the weekend, and away we go. An awesome sports night tonight. A lot to look forward to this weekend. We just had Cam Stewart talking about some major golf down there at the Blue Monster in Miami over at Doral, and also the Kentucky Derby coming up as well. But before we get there, the topic's going to continue to flow in hour number 2. You know how we get down. Best bets coming your way in a couple segments here. Nice 2-0 sweep for the boys last night. Love to see that. Little fade to public action. And also, PME coming up midway through this hour to get you those predictive markets that you certainly know and love. And also, Kevin Walsh joins us in the next segment to have some fun talking NBA and so many more topics. Joe, we got the plan for the people. Now it's time to execute.
Yeah, it is, Donnie, and I got a lot going on here this week. Got a lot going on tonight, especially Major League Baseball. Some afternoon baseball, too, of interest, too, we'll talk about coming up.
And by the way, people that don't have to work that night, there's a big game in Philadelphia. They call it Igniting the Orange, Joe. So what does that mean? It's like, hey, we bring up like a Brandon Graham up here to get the crowd fired up. Maybe Rob Thompson makes an appearance tonight at the Flyers game to fire up the crowd. Maybe not. Why? Well, Rob not working too much longer here in Major League Baseball. Maybe he finds a job, but he will be paid well to go out and find it. He was fired as the Philadelphia Phillies manager here by general manager Dave Dombrowski. Tough part about this here wasn't Topper's fault. And as we get to the early lineup, Joe, Rob Thompson's out. You're hired to be fired sometimes. Managers usually the first to go.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because it wasn't a terrible manager, but, you know, this is at least an organization that did it the right way, where there wasn't a whole lot of, comments coming out of the locker room like, what in the heck is going on here? What are you doing? Who's running the... It appears that, listen, they responded that in a shutout win last night. You got a veteran in Mattingly. You didn't have to call up a minor league manager to try and smooth things over with young players. It looks like Philadelphia did what needed to be done in order to be able to try to kickstart the season, and so far, so good.
Exactly. When the manager goes, that means it's now on the players here, and typically they will respond. And if they don't, then they'll probably be done at the end of the year as well. But also, interesting news as a sort of a counterpoint here. Yes, they did let go of Rob Thompson, and yes, Don Mattingly is now the manager through 2026, but that wasn't the first choice here. Mattingly is the manager only because Dave Dombrowski has a long history with Alex Cora, picked up the phone and goes, hey, you want to manage this team? It's yours. And Alex Cora said, you know what? I'm going to hold off. I'm going to spend some time with my family and reevaluate the situation, which I do think is a smart move by him. If you're going to get paid and you can pick wherever you want to go at the end of the season or maybe mid-season, let's just say, I don't know, Aaron Boone gets fired by the Yankees. Hey, I'd rather go there at that spot. Or how about maybe Mendoza and he wants to get back in that New York marketplace there? You can go to the New York Mets. There's a lot of options on the table for Cora, and he'll have a lot of options at the end of the season.
Yeah, he will, and he knows it. So does his agent, I am sure. So, yeah, there's no reason to rush into anything because there will be jobs available when it's all said and done, Donnie. And, yes, his name will be at the top of any opening for sure.
Terry Rozier, never a nice day to hear that you're getting extended charges onto your file, which is exactly what he's getting, which means somebody's talking and implicating you in many more ways than even that the feds thought once they started the investigation. Man, they are circling in on Terry.
Yes, they are. And you kind of knew it once you heard deals being cut and, pleading guilty. A lot of guys are going to be rolling over on one another. That's how it works. And Rozier seems to be the only one that's willing to, spend the money to defend himself. Well, they're adding charges. So we'll see how that works out for good old Scary Terry.
By the way, seeing this headline here, I need some clarification on this. In the NBA, right, we know the expansion teams are coming, and we could pretty much put them in Seattle and Las Vegas. They're anticipating $10 billion, it says, for Vegas and Seattle. Is that so let me read this. With the league expected to seek as much as $10 billion for the two franchises. Now, is that combined, Joe, where they want 5 and 5? Or are they really looking at going like, no, you got to come up with $10 billion to start each franchise, which would be 20? I'm assuming that's 5 and 5, no?
Wow, would it shock you if it was 10 and 10? Wouldn't shock me in the least here. But you would think, right? $5 billion, not a lot to ask for a franchise that'll probably triple in value in the next couple of years. So yeah, I'm sure they have it in the couch cushions, Donnie. No problem.
Like, we look at the NBA, it's like we want contraction as opposed to expansion because we want more good players on other teams so you don't really have to tank. You just see, like, tanking as an epidemic. You add 2 more teams, which means 2 more opportunities for those teams to be bad. It doesn't always work that way, but it's hard to fight, Joe. If you're telling an owner right now in the NBA who really doesn't care about money because mostly their franchises are going up, but hey, guys, I'm going to each give you a few $100 million in your back pocket just for voting yes. Who says no to that here? Like, yeah, I'll take that, and then I'll sell my team in 2 years anyway and even have more money on the back end of that. So the NBA looking to expand. They'll get their money because, as Joe says, for some reason, NBA, like, hey, the franchise value is down. I haven't heard that in 30 years at this point here in the NBA. Yeah. It always goes higher. Aaron Rodgers, he's sort of locked into a pay scale now, which I don't think he likes. The fight between him and the Steelers just got real, and also in the predictive market show, skyrocketing the chances that Aaron Rodgers just retires.
And I'm thinking maybe they're trying to push that envelope and speed up the process here. It's not like he's in his prime and he's upset that they're not negotiating. Like, you're holding the franchise hostage by doing this whole, I don't know, I got to figure out what's going on. So what choice are you leaving the Steelers here than to slap a tag that nobody's used in 100 years in the NFL? You won't communicate with them. It is what it is.
It's all Aaron Rodgers' fault because not asking for a 100% commitment. But one thing, understand, when you head into the after the season ends, football players are very emotional. That's a long season. Your body's beat up, battered, and bruised. You're probably going, I don't know if I can make it until next year, and I might just retire. But before they do that, Joe, what do? Take a 1 or 2 week vacation here, relax, talk to some people, see if the mojo comes back. And if it doesn't by that time, then you start thinking about retirement. But also understand this. Then when it started, like the OTAs start to kick up and your body's like, you know what? I feel like I'm ready to go. I should be working out. That's when you should have an answer for the team. Nobody's asking him, Joe, what, January 1st, make that decision. Take some time to think about it. Take a month or two off and let us know. And he still doesn't know. Sometimes it's time to cut the bait, but it feels like the Steelers did that, almost to force his hand not to come back, Joe, but to retire.
I agree. And again, what choice do they have, Donnie? I mean,
Correct.
they got to sooner rather than later here, Aaron. It's not that big, if you don't want to play, move on. I mean, nobody else is knocking on his door to be like, come and play for us, Aaron. So I don't understand it's not a difficult decision. Either you want to come back or you don't.
And also, if you did want to come back, what if the Steelers went round number one quarterbacks? Like, well, that's not even going to help me out, as opposed to where they were trying to get Mekhi Lemon to say, you know what, you got more weapons back. Just a mess right now for Pittsburgh. San Antonio Spurs celebrate good times. First time since 2017, Joe. They're moving on into the second round of the playoffs.
Yes, way to build a team through tanking and the draft and getting a whole lot of top picks. A way to do it, Spurs. And listen, it's now they got to wait and see. Is it going to be Denver? Is it going to be Minnesota? All of a sudden, if Minnesota pulls this game out, boy, oh boy, does San Antonio look like an easy pick right into the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, and by the way, you look at the best team in the NBA, OKC. Yeah, they got through for tanking as well. Now you see Wembanyama in San Antonio. They did tanking as well. Now the NBA is like, well, nobody else can do it, and good luck trying to find those generational players because Adam Silver is a moron. And also, he says, Joe, teams should hate to lose. Yeah, they do hate to lose. But you know what's worse? Never having a chance to win. The only chance for some of these franchises to win is just be real bad and force those players onto your team via the draft. They can't choose anybody. You choose them.
You created the nightmare that is this salary cap and the second apron, and nobody's allowed to build a team through free agency or trades anymore. Donnie, they can't afford it. So what other choice did you leave them? Amazing.
Stay away from the aprons, Joe, as they like to say. And Live Golf, New Orleans event faces cancellation. I feel like any minute we're going to get that, hey, by the way, we're out of business altogether at this point. Tough times in Live Golf. Kevin Walsh joins us next. Host of Game Time Decision right here on the Early Line. We got a log jam up top, Joe, which basically means these are the teams we expect to make the college football playoff.
If I like, let's say, Ohio State to run it back, well, then I already know what not only am I betting them for a flyer, I'm also betting the conference to win the championship also. So there's a lot of way to correlate these future bets in college.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Manager, hitting coach, bench coach, assistant hitting coach, third base coach, hitting strategy, and game planner here. It's almost like a line change in hockey, Craig.
Some of these questions that have to be asked, Donnie, would be, what did you think a month ago, Donnie, right? Like right before the season started, did you think that these coaches were the answer to your season? Because if not, why did you wait all off season to make a change like that?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The promising thing for Oklahoma is you've got this legislature that seems to be fairly behind sports betting and legalizing it for the tribes. Stitt is term limited out this year, so you will have a new governor in Oklahoma next year. So this will be a state to watch because there are a lot of tribes in Oklahoma saying, we want this. FanDuel came out as this was coming and said, we want the chance to partner with at least one of the tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I thought the Jets would have pulled the Ty Simpson move. I was desperately worried that was what they were going to do. But instead, they ended up getting it right with Bailey. And so did, by the way, the prediction markets, because we saw all that money come in for Bailey. It's kind of funny because all it is, and then you forget, who did Arizona go with? I mean, Arizona went with a running back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Hot Topics is what we do best. It's how we get down in the early line and the Sports Grid Network. Donnie right side, Joe Ranieri. Let's welcome in Kevin Walsh, host of Game Time Decisions, right here on the network, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, with Gabriel Morency as we look at some hot topics that start. Kevin, I want to ask you first, how you doing? And then get right into, what are we thinking about this new draft lottery, huh?
Yeah, it's awful. I'm good, thank you. It's bad. It's like really, really bad. It ignores pretty much, all of reality. The new idea that here's the thing. They're like, oh, you have to punish people who are trying to lose. Okay, you are also going to lead to more teams trying to lose. Okay, fine. Maybe teams won't want to win 19 or 20 basketball games, but now being the 8th worst team in the league seems pretty great. So maybe it won't be as egregious as some of the things we've seen from a Utah or a Washington, but it's still going to be bad. I've said to you guys, I would just do what the NFL does. Stop this lottery nonsense. Allow teams to, when they are bad, just be awful. Like we do the NFL mock drafts. Everyone loves them. We bet the NFL draft. Everyone loves it. We're like 3 weeks away from finding out the NBA draft order. Nobody knows what it is. But really, if this is where we are, and this is how worried you are about everything, just get rid of the draft. I've heard people call for this before. I've always hated the idea. I enjoy the NBA draft. I think they're fun. But if this is, just get rid of the draft. Get rid of it and let basically the rookies be free agents entering into the league. That'll stop the tanking right away.
Yeah, but that would be the easy thing, Kev. We don't want to do that. And again, I'm still hoping the basketball gods. I don't know. You're putting a Band-Aid on open heart surgery. Just make it real simple here, guys. If you stink, do it. To me, this whole new rule, the last week of the regular season, you're going to have that group of teams that were tanking all year, trying to win games just so they can elevate themselves and get 3 ping pong balls. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, Kev, but they created this monster by making. How else are you supposed to rebuild the team with these salary cap rules now? How else are you supposed to do it other than through the draft?
No, that is the thing. Like, people get frustrated, and then you look at, as you mentioned, Oklahoma City and San Antonio, where listen, there were also some, smart moves made along the way. I'm not saying that there weren't, but the Oklahoma SGA spent his first 3 or 4 seasons in OKC as the most injury-prone player in basketball. He's fine, right? Like, it's amazing how that works, right? It totally misses the mark, and it's I don't know, it's a little like scary to see, because it honestly does feel like their solutions are going to be the worst case scenario of them keeping it the way it is. People like Donnie say the NBA regular season is terrible, but who cares? No one's watching Wizards basketball anyway. Nobody's watching the Jazz anyway. So now you're just going to throw other things in complete disarray, where then in the lottery, you end up with the Warriors winning it, and you're like, oh, whoops. Or is that what they want? Like, that's what I don't understand.
Let me ask you a question on this, Kevin, because like the way the sport is structured sometimes doesn't make sense. Like, hey, if I don't vote you on a all-NBA team, you can't make enough money. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, maybe my value is higher. But also I always think about, like, in the NFL, if you are Patrick Mahomes is a free agent, and let's just say the Miami Dolphins go, we will pay you more money than anybody's ever paid you. In Kansas City is like, hey, we got cap restraints, we can't do it. You know where Mahomes goes? To the Miami Dolphins. The NBA has this max contract structure, which means once we get that level, nobody can offer more. So I was talking to Joe earlier saying, well, if that means that I can go to Los Angeles or go to Milwaukee, the same money, everybody's going to choose LA at this point, which favors those franchises. But if LA's like, we can offer LeBron James 50, and the Warriors the Milwaukee is like, we can give him 85, well, then he's going to go there. Like, why do we have these cap restraints on saying you can only make a certain amount of money, and it sort of locks you into saying, like, well, 6 teams can offer the same amount? It would be different, Kevin, if one team could offer way more than those teams.
Yeah, but also we have a league that thought they needed to put restrictions in. That way small markets could compete. And now you've got a dynasty building in Oklahoma City that may have to get blown up because of these same stupid cap restrictions and aprons and all this other nonsense that they've created. So that's another issue. But apparently, is this league who's so concerned? By the way, how about the NBA? I saw someone mention this. It was a great point. The NBA playoffs, I think, have been pretty good for the most part. And I understand why we just did 80% of, if not this entire segment, talking about basically the Wizard, Jazz, and Nets. Because this league thinks that should be a topic of conversation right now. If you want to fix a problem, shrink the schedule so we stop losing superstars every single round. It's so poorly ran right now.
Yeah, well, but, all right. Speaking of poor, Detroit has to try to stave off elimination here tonight. Can we trust from what you've seen? Can we trust them to win by double digits tonight?
So what's interesting is I don't think Franz Wagner plays. Could be wrong, but
he's out.
I feel like calf strains in the NBA today are the most I feel like, Donnie, they're even worse than the hamstring. Because it's like, no, this might ruin my career if I play on a bad calf. And it's 9.5. If you think about earlier on in this series, these numbers were about 8.5, 9.5. So it says to me that the books wanted to adjust this number based off what they've seen. But now with the Franz injury, desperate Detroit, we've kind of pushed this number back up. But this is also a Magic team who have played a lot of basketball without Franz Wagner this season.
By the way, quickly, Kevin, Rockets, Lakers tonight, 4.5-point spread. Who gets the win and cover, or does it get extended?
I think the Lakers get it done, but I'm very curious to see if Austin Reeves gets inserted into that starting lineup. Would obviously
Game time decision, he'll be. Catch game time decisions tonight. We got a log jam up top, Joe, which basically means these are the teams we expect to make the college football playoff.
If I like, let's say, Ohio State to run it back, well, then I already know what, not only am I betting them for a flyer, I'm also betting the conference to win the championship also. So there's a lot of way to correlate these future bets in college.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Manager, hitting coach, bench coach, assistant hitting coach, third base coach, hitting strategy, and game planner here. It's almost like a line change in hockey, Craig.
Some of these questions that have to be asked, Donnie, would be, what did you think a month ago, Donnie, right? Like right before the season started, did you think that these coaches were the answer to your season? Because if not, why did you wait all off season to make a change like that?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The promising thing for Oklahoma is you've got this legislature that seems to be fairly behind sports betting and legalizing it for the tribes. Stitt is term limited out this year, so you will have a new governor in Oklahoma next year. So this will be a state to watch because there are a lot of tribes in Oklahoma saying, we want this. FanDuel came out as this was coming and said, we want the chance to partner with at least one of the tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I thought the Jets would have pulled the Ty Simpson move. I was desperately worried that was what they were going to do. But instead, they ended up getting it right with Bailey. And so did, by the way, the prediction markets, because we saw all that money come in for Bailey. It's kind of funny because all it is, and then you forget, who did Arizona go with? I mean, Arizona went with a running back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Good segment right now coming up. Why? Because we're going to give out some best bets, check to see what the public is doing, and also still give you a little flavor on some of these hot topics, Joe. Let's go to YouTube TV. They announced that it's launching a fully customizable multi-view, giving users full control to mix and match live streams, including add-ons like the NFL Sunday Ticket. Smart, Joe. That's what we wanted. Why hasn't this been a thing over the past couple years? Because I have Xfinity, and they'll give you a multi-view box when there's games on, but I can't choose who's in that multi-box. Just let me choose. That's all I've ever wanted, Joe.
Well, they did let you choose, Donnie, but they let you choose from predetermined multi-views that, include, like, I don't want to watch The Price is Right while I'm also watching, like just... like mix and match here. Let me go ahead and pick what I want to pick and what I want to watch. And that's kind of exactly what they have finally decided to do. Networks be damned. Just put the best games in 4 boxes and we're good to go.
Correct. Remember, like, picture-in-picture used to be a big thing, then somehow that folded up here. But you could, on the ticket, they gave you the multi-view, but it's like, man, if the Bears-Bills game was up here, it'd be the perfect multi-view. And now you're going to be able to do that, which is fantastic stuff. That's all the people want, and I'm pretty sure they're probably going to charge an extra arm and a leg for it because that's exactly what they do. Joe, horse racing this weekend, all eyes focused on Churchill Downs. But we're getting stories out here, Joe. Gambling syndicates are infiltrating now horse racing. Why? Causing mayhem in horse racing by using algorithms to make last-second bets that crush odds for regular players. We just can't have nice things, can we? When the computers get involved, Joe, we can't have nice things.
Donnie, this is so laughable. Like, this is a new story. This has been happening in horse racing. It's called hidden money, Donnie. That's what it's called. And it's notorious and has been for the last, 100 years of horse racing. The fact that they think now guys are utilizing computers and, stop it. They've been doing that forever. Ever go to a track, Donnie, where it's like, all right, I got the horse at 6-1, and it goes off 3-2, and you're like, what? And that has been happening since the beginning of time. What are they talking about here? Unbelievable.
Yeah, the Power Mutual marketplace. It is kind of wild, but Joe is really like, hey, man, 8-1, I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, 1. Pays 3-2. Like, what is this, man? Who is robbing me of my money? It's just the way horse racing is, man. It's almost like you just got to enjoy and hope that you bet the horse, like, hey, 7-1 just went to 14-1. At least it never goes your direction either, but just the way it is at this point. But, Joe, let's hear what the people want to talk about today. Here's our Fade the Public poll. Of course, it's going to be NCAA expansion here, and why not? What are your thoughts on the NCAA tournament expansion here? A couple topics. Being pissed off? Why is this happening? Nobody wants to give it a shot, but at the same time, people are excited for this. Tough scene, Joe. Nobody's going to watch, apparently, but they do have an opinion, I'm thinking here.
Yeah, they, we're going to see what happens here, Donnie, I think, right? So is it going to happen? Is it not? I might peek in, you know what I mean? But I can't. I just can't justify it in my head because it's just going to be more bad product is ultimately what it's going to provide.
We'll watch. You don't worry. Joe's going to give some of those early lineups there. A lot of focus and factory and spread lines ready to go for an expanded NCAA tournament. But before we get there, you need your best bets for the day. Here's bye. Joe gave it a Yanks yesterday. A little bit of a heart attack late, but they still got the job done. Joe, where are we going tonight for another winner for you?
Oh, let's just go with William and Mary. Oh, no, that's right. Sorry, wrong, Donnie. You got me thinking about, you got me thinking about 95 teams in the tournament next year in college basketball. So instead, I'm going to go to the next sure thing here, and that is out to Sacramento. Severino on the mound. We all know how much he loves pitching at this minor league field in Sacramento. Taking on the Royals. They underperformed last night. Waka's got regression written all over him. I'm going over. Give me runs. Give me home runs here on a little warmer night tonight in Sacramento.
Nick Kurtz starting to turn that corner as well. Gets a lot of walks. That power stroke coming back. Let's get some runs, people. For me tonight, I'm going to the Association. I gave you the Sixers last night. They got boxed by 30-plus points at home. Going on the road. Nobody wanted to take them yesterday. I took the 11.5. They won the game outright. Now, tonight, Orlando Magic, Detroit Pistons. Magic are the better basketball team right now. They're up 3-1. You got a spread of 9.5 on the Pistons? Who the heck is taking that stupid wager? Only 20% of the public. You know who's going to take this stupid wager? Your boy DRS. We're laying the 9.5. Why? Not because I'm going to watch the game, because I won't, but I'm going to win this bet because nobody wants to take the Pistons. I'm taking the Pistons, and Joe, we're going 2-0 again. PME's coming up next. I'm going to calm down and let the people go. We'll be right back. We got a log jam up top, Joe, which basically means these are the teams we expect to make the college football playoff.
If I like, let's say, Ohio State to run it back, well, then I already know what, not only am I betting them for a flyer, I'm also betting the conference to win the championship also. So there's a lot of way to correlate these future bets in college.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Manager, hitting coach, bench coach, assistant hitting coach, third base coach, hitting strategy, and game planner here. It's almost like a line change in hockey, Craig.
Some of these questions that have to be asked, Donnie, would be, what did you think a month ago, Donnie, right? Like right before the season started, did you think that these coaches were the answer to your season? Because if not, why did you wait all off season to make a change like that?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The promising thing for Oklahoma is you've got this legislature that seems to be fairly behind sports betting and legalizing it for the tribes. Stitt is term limited out this year, so you will have a new governor in Oklahoma next year. So this will be a state to watch because there are a lot of tribes in Oklahoma saying, we want this. FanDuel came out as this was coming and said, we want the chance to partner with at least one of the tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.